Hi, this is Amber Soto. I'm a student at Southern Utah University. Today I'm going to talk to you again about giving voice to values. In this case, we're going to talk about the Franklin Industries whistleblowing case study. The giving voice to values technique is a preparation technique so that you are fully prepared to confront someone that has done unethical practices. What it does is allow you to analyze the reasons and rationalizations that may be presented during that confrontation and how you can respond to those. In the Franklin Industries whistleblowing case, we've got Natalie Garson, a CPA who's working for the company. Natalie has already confronted, or actually presented to the Human Resources Department the situation and her concern about the embezzlement. She has also brought it up to the internal auditors, who have also potentially confirmed that the embezzlement has occurred. Now, unfortunately, no one has taken any further action in this, and Natalie has found that it is her responsibility to abide by her values and confront the CEO and the board of directors. Now, what we need to do is make sure that Natalie is prepared for that. So I'm going to put myself in Natalie's shoes, and I'm going to use the giving voices to values technique to get fully prepared for that confrontation. The first question that I want to review is, what are the main arguments that I'm trying to counter? What reasons and rationalizations need to be addressed? Now, Denny King is the person who did the embezzlement, so he's going to have some reasons and rationalizations along with the CEO and the board. Those reasons could include that it's a one-time event, it would never happen again, that meaning it's an isolated incident. It could also be that they state that it was actually an arm's length transaction, that it wasn't a conflict of interest, or that there was a $5 million project that needed to be paid for. One other direction that they could take it is materiality. They could say that the $5 million is minimal. I find that highly unlikely, but you never know how large of a company this is. Now, what we also need to take into consideration is what is at stake for the key parties, including those that disagree with you. Well, in an embezzlement situation, there's a lot at stake. Denny, for example's reputation, job, potentially his freedom is on the line. There are some severe consequences and punishments for embezzlement. The internal auditors, the management team, the board, the CEO, they all have a right to know where that $5 million went. And then my reputation and integrity would be on the line if I didn't do anything, and I could risk punishment as well. In the technique, we also have to look at two more things. One of those is, what levers can I use to influence those who disagree? Now, what I can ask is documentation. Is there documentation for the project that cost $5 million? Was there a bidding process that allowed that project to be awarded to the company that was paid the $5 million? I can ask to prove that it was an arm's length transaction and not a conflict of interest. Now, the most powerful and persuasive response that I can have, and to whom, when, and in what context, involve the severe consequences. I can explain to Denny what the consequences of embezzlement are, along with the CEO and the board of directors. I can, remind them that it is unethical and it's fraudulent, and what impact it has on the company and the shareholders. And then I can also remind them what my responsibilities are if there is no action. Now, that's what goes on to the next step. So once we have attempted the giving voice to values technique, and unfortunately, if it fails, the next step that we have to take is the possibility of a whistleblower claim. Does this case have sufficient standing for that? I believe it does. The Dodd-Frank Act protects whistleblowers that voluntarily supply original information to the SEC, and I think that's what we have here. I also find that as a person that is a CPA, as Natalie is, that it is her responsibility to do her due diligence and to report any unethical embezzlement that is occurring to the SEC if the company has failed to take any action on it. I have to put my fears aside, and I have to do what is right as someone in this industry. So that's the giving voice to values technique, second case study that we've done on it, and also taking into consideration the whistleblower claim and what we need to do if the giving voice to values technique falls through.